I'd like to call to order the regular scheduled council meeting for November 24th. Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. McDermott?
Here.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Ceresi? Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Yates?
Here.
Mrs. Stauffer?
Here.
Okay. If we could stand, Mr. Scafidi will lead us in prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we seek your guidance for the business that is before us. In planning for the future of the city of Twinsburg, give us vision. Guide us to make decisions that are not self-serving, but for the betterment of our community, so we can continue to move in a positive direction. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just as a note, on the December 1st meeting, we'll have swearing in. There'll be no caucus meeting previously, and there'll also be no business taken after the swearing-ins. Are there any changes to the minutes for the November 10th meeting? Okay, then the minutes will stand as presented. Audience participation. Shannon, can you call the first person?
Yes, first we have Daisy Walker.
Good evening, Mayor, Mr. Maestros, Council, and staff. Daisy Walker, Chair, Twinsburg Environmental Commission. I'm here to report in Mr. Roden's absence. And the items on the Environmental Commission, we're considering making regulations for a managed natural landscaping ordinance for the protection and maintenance of Twinsburg natural vegetation buffers along the waterways. So we're considering that for next year. I do have a copy of Cincinnati's landscaping, managed natural landscaping. So if any of you want to take a look at it, and this will be on one of our projects for 2016. I gave Shannon a copy, so she wants to pass hers around to you council people. Also, we're still looking for environmental commissioners in Ward 1, 2, and 3, I do believe. And as an added incentive, and just to let the incoming environmental commissioners know that we really do a lot of work and really do a lot of things, and we want them to really become a part of it. We're passing out this gift bag, and these are the bags that we use for Earth Day. So if there's any commission who would like extra bags, the Environmental Commission, we do have a surplus of bags and T-shirts. So we're going to give out for the Environmental Commissioners this bag. We have a few of these T-shirts, and the T-shirts is Twinsburg Green Initiative. So the Environmental Commission can really know what we're all about. And also, we're going to really get down and dirty for 2016. So we have some rubber gloves for them so they could come prepared for whatever we're going to do. So if there's any commission that need T-shirts, or if you want to use it for your commission, we do have an inventory. Lynn Muter has all the inventory that we have. So if you need any supplies, just go to Lynn Muter or give me a call. Are there any questions? Thank you.
No,
Thank
ma'am.
you, Daisy.
Thanks, Daisy. Shannon, next.
Next we have Ms. Williams.
Okay, I'm tired. I just got through washing dishes from across the street. It was full. It was a full house. So I want to say thank you to the city because I know what you do. David Moen passed. I don't know if the city has been made aware of it. He was the dean for the Geauga campus and our regional academic center. The memorial will be January 9th. I think that's a Saturday from 2 to 4 here in Twinsburg at the Regional Academic Center, and I will forward that information to Shannon that I received so that if anyone would like to attend it. It was because of David and the city and those of us that work due diligently that we have this fabulous campus that we have, and he was a visionary. And it came as a shock because I think he's been retired almost 2 years now. and it was his second retirement. So I know he had been sick, but I thought he had turned a corner. So I wanted to make sure that council and the mayor's office was aware of that. December 3rd, the Summit County Public Health is having a forum, for lack of a better word, with judges, lawyers, healthcare professionals from around Summit County to discuss a lot of the issues that are going on and also talk about the refugee situation. We had thought we were going to get Syrians here in Summit County because we have a large wraparound, but it's my understanding now that we're going to get Congo and another country, so we're not getting any Syrians at this point. There was a problem with Chipotle's here. I'm sure you've seen it in the paper, and it was in Summit County, so we're on top of that, trying to address that issue. Mr. Yates, as the new mayor, if you would like some information on December 3rd, I can forward it to you. It might be something that you might be interested in just to see what we're doing. And we have a new program called Circle of Care. I think we talked about that the last time, and we do have some brochures. I'm going to see if we can get some out here so that we can have them for our police and fire department. And we've expanded our senior program because of the issues with our seniors now. And then lastly, Kathy, I want to say to you, I remember when you started this journey, we sat in my kitchen, we talked. We've had our ups and downs with city things, but you're leaving the city in a great place. And I want to say thank you. We've had some very personal talks about some things close to my heart, close to your heart. We've talked about our children. And I hope to see you around the city. And I will tell you, in retirement, you'll be trying to figure out how you did all these other things because my day goes so fast. And I'm like, it's dark already? And I did all the same things when I was working, but I don't know how I got them done. So you will enjoy it, enjoy your family, enjoy your grandkids. And I look forward to spending some time with you, and maybe we can play some golf.
Sounds great, Sheila. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
There is none.
Thank you. And we'll go to council reports. Mrs. Stoffer, do you have a report tonight?
We had the safety meeting, and that wasn't official at this point, so we're going to hold off and report on safety after our next meeting and ARB report.
Thank you. Mr. McDermott, do you have anything?
I have no meeting.
Mr. Yates?
Yes, just a couple of things. I attended the opening of our new dispatch center. This was on the 18th, and it was very well attended. We had police chiefs and other officers from around the surrounding communities here to observe all the work that went into that center. I just want to commend Chris for really pushing forward and getting the support he needed to get that accomplished. And I think, hopefully that can help, get some other communities involved and start looking at some ways to regionalize some of our dispatch here at the city. We had a CIC meeting on the 19th, and we are looking at some potential changes to our board makeup, and there'll be more information coming out about that as the board discusses those changes and what's going to happen. So coming up, we have Luminosity on the 28th, and I encourage all the residents to attend that. That's an event we started last year where we do a lighting ceremony here at City Hall and then march everyone down to the square. And the township has purchased a great tree, and we have festivities for the kids. And I believe we had at least a couple thousand people last year. It was a great turnout, and we hope to have that again this year. So that's on Saturday the 28th. I encourage you to come. And then lastly, I just want to wish all the residents and the employees here and everyone just a happy Thanksgiving. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Scafidi?
Thank you, Mr. Fury. Good evening. I have no report on my committees. However, I do have two announcements. We are going to be having the second annual Light the Night event coming up soon. It was originally scheduled for Wednesday, December 9th. However, it's been changed to Monday, December 7th, so I just wanted to make that clear. The little brief scenario of it is, after a successful turnout in 2014, Light the Night will return in 2015 to celebrate a night of Hanukkah. Enjoy music, festive music, potato pancakes, dreidel games, and more. And it's free, and bring the whole family. So that, again, will be on December 7th, Monday, December 7th, from 6 to 8 o'clock at the Twinsburg Community Center, for those interested. I attended last year, and it was very, very well attended, and a nice evening for all that attended. So I want to get that out. The other thing is, I believe Daisy Walker mentioned that we do have some boards and commissions open. And again, I'd like to repeat that real quick. On the Board of Zoning Appeals, we have openings in Ward 1, Ward 4, and Ward 5. Capital Improvement Board, we have openings on Ward 1, Ward 2, and Ward 3. The Environmental Commission, we have opening in Ward 1 and Ward 2. Also Ward 3 and Ward 4. In Glen Eagles Advisory Board, we have an opening for Ward 3 and Ward 2. I already
No,
said
those
that.
are just two people, actually. Those are just numbers. They're at large.
They're at large, okay. So it's just two people. And the Parks and Rec Commission, we have openings in Ward 3, Ward 4, and Ward 5. And then the Planning Commission, again, we have openings in Ward 1 and Ward 2. So anybody interested, please feel free to contact Shannon. The request has to be in by Friday, December 18th at 4:30 p.m. to the clerk's office. And Mr. Fury, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Earlier this evening, we had a public hearing in regards to Ordinance 132-2015, which is amending Chapter 1148 of the Twinsburg Zoning Development Code regarding building materials for the C5 mixed-use district. And I expect Council will act upon that later this evening. On November 11th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce board meeting. Upcoming events for the Chamber of Commerce are their Person of the Year business luncheon will be at the Hilton Garden Inn on December 17th. Tickets are available through the Chamber office or online. They also are having at the Hilton Garden Inn on January 28th the 4th Annual Women's Expo. And this is a huge event in Twinsburg. Went with my wife last year, and it was packed with all sorts of health-related, just a ton of different businesses and services. So that's January 28th. And the next board meeting will be Wednesday, December 9th at 8 a.m. at the Public Library. On November 12th, I attended the Northeast Ohio City Council Association dinner, and the speaker was in charge of raising $60 million for the Republican National Committee, and the discussion was the impact on Northeast Ohio. And they calculate that just having this event to showcase the Cleveland metropolitan area and its suburbs will will impact us by $400 to $500 million this time, but also by bringing in so many people, they expect it to have a long-lasting effect on promoting the city. There is a website, www.2016.cleveland.com, that if you are a florist or a service provider or an Uber driver, I mean, just about any service-oriented business, you can go on that website and become a supplier. There's a link, and I think Mr. Finch is putting this on the website. I'm not sure we discussed it, but for our small businesses or our service businesses in the area of Twinsburg, you can capitalize or get involved with this. Again, it's 2016cleveland.com. Become a supplier. On Friday the 13th, I was able to attend a planning workshop with Mr. Finch and Mr. Yates were also in attendance. They had a class on sign and regarding content. We've had some questions on the legality of our political signs, and they spoke on that after in a small group session. I think that there's some language that other cities have adopted that meet both the Ohio and the U.S. Supreme Court rulings, and maybe we could take a look at that at some point next year. Also said in a study on planning in landlocked areas, and they went through North Olmsted and also Independence, which aren't exactly like Twinsburg, but again, you're blocked by other communities and how they did downtown revitalization programs, and some things to talk with the council at a later date. So. On November 16th, I attended a Planning Commission meeting with 2 items on the agenda, which were both lighting plans for Fox Hollow subdivision and the Boulder Brook subdivision. Both lighting plans were approved 5-0. The next Planning Commission meeting will be December 21st. That's Monday at 7 o'clock. And on the agenda is tentatively scheduled for Dunkin' Donuts. Keep an eye on that for a second. I also attended the November 19th Twinsburg Community Improvement, as Mr. Yates spoke of earlier. And there will be a public hearing on December 15th at 6:30 for the EPA grant. It's the 15th, correct?
The 8th.
It's the 8th. I apologize. But it was going to be, we discussed having it tonight, but we researched it and found that we needed a 2-week window. So I appreciate Mr. Maestros and Mr. Finch helping us work that out after some residents brought it to our attention. And that's all I have this evening. Mayor Prokop, do you realize this is the 528th Tuesday you've spent in that chair? Well, not in that chair necessarily, but in this
Sometimes
room.
it feels like it.
I told you I'd figure out that number. It's
Thank you.
528.
Wow.
I already did that. I didn't have a report. So, Mayor?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fury. Good evening, everybody. As Sheila mentioned earlier today, we were so sad to hear about the passing of Dean David Moen. We have a lot in our community to thank Dean Moen for. I will never forget when he took over as the Geauga Twinsburg Regional Campus Dean, and he came into the office and introduced himself. They were at the time conducting a couple classes for Chrysler in the old school, and he came in and he shared a vision with me after a few times after we met and talked about Twinsburg and the enrollment and the potential for students here. He shared a vision about having a regional campus here in the city of Twinsburg. And working with Dean David Moen is one of the things that I remember most about my administration, because he had such drive, such passion for the students, for our community. And he and I were able to form a partnership where we allowed classes to be conducted in the old school to build the student body for Kent State University. He had to prove that there were enough people interested in going to classes here in the city of Twinsburg. And he built that student body at the old school. He was so passionate about it. He did such a great job. He introduced me to Dean Carol Cartwright, and she was the dean at Kent State University at the time. We went there several times, and he presented that project with such passion, and she was always just in his corner and in favor of it. And she left, and Dean Lester Lefton took over as the dean of Kent State University. And the same thing, he would continually go in, knock on the dean's door, and present the project. And we had some bumps in the road. Dean Lefton said, well, if you can raise the money, you can do it. Well, that was hard for Dean Moen to do, but he found ways and avenues, and sure enough, eventually, his dream and our dream here in the city of Twinsburg of having a regional campus came true. But I can tell you, without his drive, his ambition, his passion, that would have never, ever happened. He was just an amazing man. He was a businessman. He had a great business career and came into education as a second career. But I had great respect for him, and we just always had a great time. Larry has very fond memories of him, too. We worked very closely with Dean Moen, so did Adele. So he will be missed. But I would like to express our condolences, our sympathy to his wife, Connie, and to his family and friends. They will always remember him, as I will, with respect and fondness. He was a great man. So that was our sad news today, but we have good memories of him. Other than that, I would just like to also just reconfirm what Sam said. We do have our luminosity this Saturday on the 28th. Light the Night Hanukkah is Monday, December 7th at 6 p.m. Winter Wonderland will be December 6th, and Winter Wonderland is from 1 to 4 o'clock. We also have Breakfast with Santa on December 12th, but that event is sold out. So there's lots of things going on in the month of December, and I hope you'll be able to participate with those things. Also, I would also like to congratulate Chief Noga and the dispatchers. There's the chief on the wonderful dispatch center downstairs. It's amazing. It's state of the art. It will make their jobs more efficient. It will make it more comfortable. Those are long, long hours they put in. They spend a lot of that time just staring at a screen, and being able to have an ergonomically designed station where they will be comfortable and can respond quickly and accurately and with the best available information is really such an improvement for not only our residents but for the dispatchers. So thank you for driving that project. Again, a project that took quite a few years because we went down some other avenues trying to put together a regional dispatch center. That didn't work out, but we are prepared for regionalism. So good job, Chief, and thank you so much for your efforts in getting that accomplished. With that, I would like to turn it over to Karen House for our finance report.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to report for the collections for November. Thus far, we have $1,612,003 compared to November last year, receipts in the amount of $1,817,421. This reflects a decrease again of 11.3%, 205,417 less over last year. Refunds and adjustments in the amount of $16,121 are also reflective in November collection. The total year-to-date receipts collected for 2015 is $17,841,468 compared to last year of $21,504,845. This also reflects a decrease of about 17%, or $3,663,376, less over last year. The net cash distribution applied due to the 0.25% rate reduction is $211,818. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Karen. I think we have a couple department head reports this evening. Colette? HR?
Just a short report tonight for under the heading of Human Resources. We have finished up. We have some tentative agreements for firefighters and the captain's contracts, and those will be coming to you next week, hopefully to be passed. Our healthcare committee met. We're still discussing and reviewing various options for wellness programs. We're targeting March to be to coincide with our healthcare plan renewal year. We'll roll out our wellness program at that time also. We also have some openings, job openings. We're looking for an operator in our wastewater treatment plant, and still looking for some part-time dispatchers at this time. Under civil service, they met on November 12th. We discussed the status of the current police eligibility list and the possibility of another test for next spring. There was also some discussion on how the rules for provisional hiring would be applied if we were ever faced with the need for additional staff on a short notice. The next meeting for civil service is December 10th. In the IT department, we're just business as usual, very busy. The time clocks are progressing, getting everybody's fingerprints done and getting that rolled out. The phones are, we're getting some quotes on the new phone system, so that project is also progressing. And then lastly, just my congratulations to Councilman McDermott on his retirement, and also to Mayor Prokop after 16 years of dedicated service to our community and to our city staff. I speak for the entire staff when I say that we've all benefited from your leadership, your friendship, and your support over the years, and you will be missed. We have great memories, so thank you. Good job, Kat.
I believe that's all tonight. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, then we'll move into legislation. We'll start with Ordinance 132, 2015.
An ordinance amending Section 1148.2 of the Twinsburg Zoning and Development Regulations establishing architectural design standards in the C5 Mixed Residence Business District as recommended by the Planning Commission.
I make a motion that we adopt Ordinance 132, 2015. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Yates seconds. Discussion? We had a public hearing earlier this evening. This is again regarding the construction materials. Was approved by Planning Commission, and it's the purpose is to enhance the value of our downtown property. Again, approved by both Planning and ARB. Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mr. Sorese? Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mrs. Stauffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden?
Ordinance 132, 2015 passes 5-0. Ordinance 142, 2015.
An ordinance levying special assessments for the cost of improving Chamberlain Road between certain termini by constructing sanitary sewers together with necessary appurtenances.
Thank you. This will stand on its second reading after this evening. Resolution 143, 2015.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the City of Solon to provide space in the City of Solon's jail for the housing of misdemeanant and inmates.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 143, 2015. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Scafidi seconds. Discussion? This is a 3-year contract with Solon to house prisoners at a cost of $66 per day. And if we don't hit a certain metric of, I think it's 320, we get a $20,000 rebate. Is there any other discussion? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Sorese?
Resolution 143, 2015 passes 5-0. Ordinance 144, 2015.
An ordinance to make temporary appropriations for the ordinary and other necessary expenses of the City of Twinsburg, Ohio during the first quarter of the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2016, and declaring an emergency.
I move that we place Ordinance 144, 2015 on its third and final reading and declare an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Yates seconds the emergency. Discussion on the emergency? The purpose of the emergency is that we need to have a temporary budget, and this is actually just 1 quarter of the year, 3 months. It allows us to put a marker in place, and the final budget has to be passed by the end of March, the 31st. So we've done temporary budgets before, and that's simply what this is. Shannon, would you call the roll on the emergency, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Sorese?
Okay, so the emergency passes 5-0. Now I'd like to adopt as an emergency Ordinance 144, 2015. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. McDermott seconds. Any further discussion? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Sorese?
Ordinance 144, 2015 passes as an emergency 5-0. Ordinance 145, 2015.
An ordinance amending salaries, wages, and employment descriptions for certain employees of the city and updating classifications of employees to be known as the 2015 Salary Ordinance and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to place Ordinance 145, 2015 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. Is there a second? Mr. Scafidi seconds. Discussion on the emergency.
This is being passed just from the executive assistant to the mayor position. The current one is retiring. We're looking to try to get someone in place before year end. This is just a lowering of the bottom range of that salary and actually getting rid of the steps in that category on the 2015 salary ordinance so that we can start the person, if available, at the proper range.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Shannon, would you call the roll, please, on the emergency?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Sorese?
The emergency passes 5-0. Now I'd like to adopt as an emergency Ordinance 145, 2015. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Yates seconds. Is there further discussion? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Sorese?
Okay, Ordinance 145, 2015 passes as an emergency 5-0. Resolution 146, 2015.
A resolution authorizing the transfer of city property to retiring Councilman Bob McDermott as an honorarium for his many years of service to the city of Twinsburg.
I'd like to I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 146, 2015. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Stoffer seconds. You're so far away. Is there any discussion? So this allows Mr. McDermott to keep his iPad that he's been used for the last 5 years, as well as gives him a fitness center membership. And thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you.
Don't vote on this. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
I have to recuse myself.
Thank you.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Cerisi?
Okay, Resolution 146, 2015 passes 4-0. Resolution 147, 2015.
A resolution authorizing the transfer of city property to retiring Mayor Catherine A. Prokop as an honorarium for her many years of service to the city of Twinsburg.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 147, 2015. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Scafidi seconds. Discussion? This resolution allows the mayor to keep her existing cell phone, her iPad, and a membership to the fitness center as a token of our appreciation for her service to the city. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Cerisi?
Okay, Resolution 147 passes 5-0. Ordinance 148, 2015.
An ordinance approving a change order to the contract with Bismeg Landscaping for modification of additional work related to the golf course improvement project and declaring an emergency.
I move that we place Ordinance 148, 2015 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Yates seconds. Discussion on the emergency? We have, in previous meetings, discussed finishing off some work on the golf course with the weather being so nice, and we needed to transfer some funds. So this is we need to pay a bill that we've already discussed in the past. Is there any further discussion on the emergency? Shannon, would you call the roll on the emergency, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Cerisi?
Okay, the emergency passes 5-0. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Ordinance 148, 2015 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Stoffer seconds. I'll have to look down that way more often. Discussion? Shannon, call the roll, please.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Cerisi?
Okay, Ordinance 148, 2015 passes as an emergency, 5-0. Ordinance 149, 2015.
An ordinance accepting the lands and improvements dedicated to public use for the Cornerstone Subdivision Phase 1 and Phase 2, accepting the maintenance bond and reducing the performance bond accordingly.
Okay, and I believe that stands on its first reading. And that concludes the legislation portion of tonight's meeting. At this time, we're going to move to awards and presentations. Mayor Prokop?
Thank you, Mr. Fury.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to present a resolution this evening to Mr. McDermott.
Go out front, Bob. Yep.
Actually, I'll stand on this side, that'd be easier. Up there, wherever you're comfortable. You good?
I'm good.
Okay, well, let's do it right here. I'm honored to do this, Bob. We've worked together for a long time, and we both deserve a little retirement. So, so I am honored to be able to present this resolution to you. Whereas Bob McDermott will be retiring from public service after serving as Ward 2 councilman since December of 2003. And whereas during his tenure on City Council, Bob McDermott ably served as council representative on the following committees and commissions: Finance, Public Works, Volunteer Fireman Dependency, Architectural Review Board, Safety Committee, Capital Improvements Board, Planning, Environmental, Fitness Advisory, and Beautification. And whereas Councilman McDermott also served as council president and most recently as vice president of council. And whereas Councilman McDermott authored and supported the mayoral primary charter amendment, which has been affirmed by the electorate on subsequent elections. He also authored the policy to require prior approval of fund transfers by council designed to control city spending. And whereas Councilman McDermott has been a strong voice throughout his tenure on City Council, he has been an advocate of fiscal responsibility and brought a wealth of business experience to his role on City Council. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Twinsburg, County of Summit, and State of Ohio, that acting for itself and on behalf of the people of the City of Twinsburg, Bob McDermott is hereby commended for dedicated and meritorious service given to the City of Twinsburg as Ward 2 Councilman. That the members of this council wish to express their recognition and sincere appreciation for such service. That the clerk of council shall enter this enactment paying tribute to Bob McDermott upon the permanent records of the City of Twinsburg to serve henceforth as a permanent expression of appreciation for his outstanding contribution and civic zeal on behalf of this city. That this resolution shall take effect and be in force at the earliest period allowed by law. Congratulations. I'll put this one by your desk and then.
Why don't you stay down?
Okay.
Bob, on behalf of council, we'd like to present you with this plaque. It's an appreciation of your service to the City of Twinsburg and for your leadership as a City Council President, City Council Vice President, Chairman and member of the Finance Committee, the Planning Commission, the Architectural Review Board, the Board of Zoning Appeals, and the Environmental Commission. It's for Ward 2 Councilman Bob McDermott, and the quote is, "We have all benefited and learned from you to better serve the City of Twinsburg." And thank you very much, Bob. I really appreciate all your help over the past 12 years.
Thank you.
So, there you go. And now we have, here, we're going to see, go back, give me space. At this time, Mayor, we have one for you. And Mr. Yates, would you please present the mayor? Sam's going to read the, first of all, Mr. Scafidi, as being appointed by you 3 months before I got on council, is now the senior member of the Twinsburg City Council. I'm a close second, but still Sam's number one. So because of that, I've asked Sam to read your resolution, and I've also asked Mr. Yates to present you with 16 red roses on behalf of the 16 years that you were the mayor of the City of Twinsburg. So I'll get out of your way. Here. I'll hand this to Mr. Scafidi.
Okay.
And I will step forward.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, council.
Well,
Feels a little strange now.
For once, we get to do one for you. Which way do you want to stand there?
you get your picture
there?
Go back and stand.
Okay, this
This is the next mayor.
This is bittersweet for me, of course, but I'm going to read the resolution first. Whereas Catherine A. Prokop will complete her 4th term as mayor of the City of Twinsburg, and whereas Mayor Catherine Prokop began her public service as a ward representative to the Twinsburg Parks and Recreation Department. After being elected to council in 1991, Catherine served as City Council President, Parks and Rec Chairman, Planning Commission Representative, Finance Committee Representative, and as a member of the Planning Committee, Public Works Committee, Comprehensive Plan Committee, Athletic Complex Advisory Board, City Newsletter Committee, Architecture Review Board, member and chairman of the Twinsburg Center Gateway Committee and Twinsburg Sign Committee. And whereas Mayor Catherine Prokop was elected mayor in 1999, while serving the city both as council member and as mayor, she witnessed unprecedented residential, commercial, and industrial growth. Whereas Mayor Catherine Prokop has witnessed expansion at City Hall, Fire Station 1, the Police Department, Wastewater Treatment Plant, Service Department, Building Department, and Parks and Recreation Department. The Fire Department became a full-time operation, and Fire Station 2 was completed. The Senior Center was moved from the old school to the current location, and purchases were negotiated and completed for the Glen Eagles Golf Course and Liberty Park. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Twinsburg, County of Summit, and State of Ohio, that acting for itself and on behalf of the people of the City of Twinsburg, Catherine Prokop is hereby commended for her dedicated and meritorious service given to our city as mayor. That the members of this City Council wish to express their recognition and appreciation for such service. That the Clerk of Council shall enter this enactment paying tribute to Catherine Prokop upon the permanent records of the City of Twinsburg to serve henceforth as a permanent expression of appreciation for her outstanding contribution and civic zeal on behalf of the city. That this resolution shall take effect and be in full force at the earliest period allowed by law.
Thank you, sir.
You know, I would just like to say one thing before the mayor takes the mic, and I'm sure she will, but, you know, it's been an honor for me to sit up here in my 3 terms as a city councilman and be able to work with this lady as the mayor of this city. You know, I've watched her, and I've always said Kathy Prokop had her heart in the right place. Her heart has always been with this community and with the people of this community, and always to do what's best for all of us. And look at what she's leaving behind. After 16 years, what a legacy, and what a place we have to live and raise our families and work. And it's all because of the hard work and dedication of what I always said was the hardest working mayor in Summit County, Kathy Prokop. And I'm glad to call her my friend. She was my colleague, and I will forever be grateful to her for everything that she's done for all of us. And I'm sure we'll be friends for a long, long time. And I'll see a lot. So best wishes to you, best health in your retirement with your family, and I hope that you enjoy just your time off. And like Sheila said, that's what I hear. You know, you're going to wonder how you had time to work when you've got so many things to do. So, Kathy, God bless you. Thank you for everything, and I love you.
Thank you. So I get the mic when I'm all choked up here. You know, this is a very, very proud moment for me. So thank you, council members. I appreciate it. Thank you to my staff, Dave Maestros, my family. This has been the most challenging career you can imagine, but the most rewarding career ever. And I am so proud to have served as mayor here in the city of Twinsburg, because I do have my heart here in the city. And the one thing that I have to say, though, is it could never, ever have been done without the staff here at City Hall. The department heads are amazing. I believe we have the best team of departments anywhere in this state, and incredible employees. And just like my heart's in the city, so is theirs. So I thank my staff, my department heads, the employees here, council for your support over the years. I just don't know what else to say except thank you for the privilege and the honor of serving you. Excuse me. And, Jean, I promise that this is the last time we will have to celebrate our wedding anniversary at a council meeting. Happy anniversary, hon. Thank you so much.
Okay, that takes us to unfinished business, new business, and miscellaneous. Start over there. Okay. Mr. Scafidi, do you have anything?
Yeah, I have one thing. I do want to wish Bob McDermott. You know, I've had the pleasure of working with Bob basically my whole term on council as well. And Bob, it's been a pleasure to work with you. We've agreed, we've disagreed, but we've always managed to do what's best for the city of Twinsburg. And I just want to wish you all the best in your retirement, good health to you, And I hope that you enjoy your time off and your time with your family, and thank you for everything that you've done for the city, and it's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I wish all the residents happy Thanksgiving. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Yates?
Yes, I also want to thank Mr. McDermott. When I first came on council, I think Bob helped me quite a bit in terms of understanding a lot of the different areas in finance, and I've always respected his opinion and looked to him for guidance, and I think he has definitely impacted this community and his ward in a significant way. And I know the residents and your fellow council members tremendously thank you for your years of service and all that you've done for this community. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then I also want to congratulate Kathy. She's been a good friend and a wonderful mayor. I think if you've seen anything and experiencing kind of on the inside as I've tried to transition here, seeing the interactions between her and the staff, I know it's kind of bittersweet, but to see that connection between the department heads and the employees and everything that that she's helped accomplish in this city. But I know it's difficult for her because she's very close to a lot of these department heads, a lot of the people that work here, to be able to break away. But she's also established just a great group of people that are helping run this city, and I'm just honored to be able to kind of step in that role. And I'll wish her the best. I know we're going to talk frequently, but she is truly appreciated around here. And it's funny, you hear people say, well, if I had a penny for every time someone said that for me, I'd be rich. To say that to every single person I've talked to, you've got big shoes to fill. So I've heard that a bunch every time I talk to anyone about me transitioning in this role behind Kathy. Is you've got big shoes to fill, and I agree. I do, and I hope that I'm as successful as you were as mayor.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
Mr. McDermott?
Well, I'm not a great speaker, but I can tell you I can't believe that it's been 12 years as a council representative. It has gone just that quickly. I would like to thank the Residents Award, too, for supporting me. I've had the pleasure of meeting some very wonderful people. Also, I'd like to thank particularly the mayor, Sam, and our newie trainer, Ted Yates, and certainly Mr. Bill, who has been my friend through this, 5 years, 4 years, 13 years, 12 years?
Something like that.
It seems like only yesterday we were passing out literature.
In the van at night.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, thank you all. Thank the public. You've been so generous with your help, and I'm speechless, and that's unusual for me to be totally speechless. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob. Maureen? Mrs. Stoffer, excuse me.
Well, yeah, it's hard enough for me to speak normally, so, Mr. Mayor, thank you for everything. You really are an inspiration. And Ted, you do have some big shoes to fill there. Bob, thank you very much for your service. It's been a real pleasure working with you, too.
Thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure working with you.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to there's going to be some changes. So anyway, Kathy, thank you one more time, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thank you, Maureen.
Well, I'd like to thank the council for allowing me the privilege of being the president for the last year. I look forward to transitioning to Mr. Scafidi at the next meeting. And I'd also like to thank Shannon Collins for all her work and help to make it so easy to do this. Mayor, I have learned a ton of things. I didn't know really anything when I got here, and as I said in the paper, we agreed on far more than we disagreed, and I really appreciate your help and leadership. And
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. McDermott, I do miss sitting in the back of your van putting envelopes on mailboxes for 10 or 12 hours a week. We could do Meadowood in 2.5 hours with the band door open. It was like our own little joke. So I will miss sitting next to you, but I will always remember the time we've had together. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Couldn't have done this without you.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you, Bob. Okay. Anything, Karen? Shannon? Dave?
I would just briefly like to congratulate Mr. McDermott on the service he's given his city over the last 12 years and let you know I've enjoyed our talks in my office and point out he is not this quiet when he's in my office. And let you know, Bob, I hope you continue to stop in. I would look forward to you stopping in to visit. I hope you take advantage of it. The door's always open. Thank you again. I always enjoyed that. I enjoyed your business experience you brought to this job and kind of imparted on all of us. And I'd also like to say to Mayor Prokop, I've been fortunate to be the law director of Mayor Prokop for the last 9+ years. And as Sam said, I certainly can't say it any better, her impact on this city will resonate for many, many years to come. I know we'll see each other. I look forward to it. Thanks again for all your support for me. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Karen, did I miss you? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say to Bob McDermott, every time I go through the appropriations and prepare for the budget and look for lease versus purchase, I think of you. I appreciate your expertise and your patience as we went through the budget, and I understood completely how you felt, and I respect you truly as a councilman, and I enjoyed working with you. Mayor, I would just like to say, I've said it over and over again, so I'm not going to be long with it before. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being a wonderful, inspirational boss. I appreciated your leadership and your guidance, and I really enjoyed working under you. And
Thank you,
that's
Karen.
it.
And
You get a turn if you want.
can I have a turn here? Thank you. Bob, also I want to wish you a happy retirement, many years, and I enjoyed working with you. You're right. We had some pretty good discussions, and they were always good-natured, though, so thank you very much. And, again, best wishes to you and your family. Ted, I'm excited about the transition here. I know you're going to do a great job. I'm looking forward to the new energy that's going to be in this community, and I know that you're going to lead that and bring it here. So congratulations to you. I'm just proud of the fact how well you have conducted yourself over the years and what you've achieved. So, again, looking forward to working with you in some capacities in the future. Again, it's been just amazing. When I was elected in 1999, I didn't have any grandchildren. Jean and I, now have 9, and shortly we will have 10 grandchildren. So who knows what will happen for you in the next 16 years or so. That and a few more gray hairs and a few wrinkles. But it's all good. It's just truly an honor, and I'm glad that you're going to be able to experience it. Good luck and congratulations, Ted. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Mr. Sorese and Mr. Roden.
I'll second.
Mr. Yates seconds. Is there any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mr. Roden? Mr. Sorese? Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Okay. Without any other business in front of council at this time, I'd like to adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you. And there's cake and coffee and drinks out in the lobby, so we'll move the party outside.
11:12.